There are no unbiased sources apart from the scientific method. This is why we need the scientific method. This is why it's so important, because everyone has biases. This is why fact-checking websites are just so fucking stupid. There cannot be an unbiased fact-checking website. I mean, we've just seen ridiculous lies from Snopes and others on things that are just obviously not true. Doesn't matter if you're left-wing, right-wing, centrist. Whichever sources you're consuming information from are biased. Whichever people you're talking to are biased. I'm biased. Everyone is biased. Everything is biased, apart from the scientific method. Now, if you can, this is why like a double-blind scientific trial is so important. This is how we really know, say, medicines work without injecting human bias into it. This is why the actual scientific method is so important. What is the scientific method? Well, it's the opposite of religion. I mean, religion is obviously not true. It's obviously all made up by man. But what religion requires is the opposite of the scientific method. It requires faith. It requires you to pretend to know something you don't know. It requires you to pretend that you know Jesus was the Son of God when you don't know that. Jesus almost certainly wasn't the Son of God. It's a fucking stupid idea. Let's be honest. The scientific method, and that's an unprovable proposition. It's a meaningless proposition because there's no way you could possibly know whether that's true. But it's extremely unlikely. There's no reason to think it's true. What's far more likely is that some men made up the Christian religion like they made up 10,000 other religions. That just happens to be one that caught on. It's kind of a fashion thing. What the scientific method says is, okay, here's your hypothesis. So if I connect this wire through this computer circuit and to a battery, this light will come on and it will be this bright. That's your hypothesis. Test it. Did that happen? If it did happen, you haven't necessarily proved it, but you've passed this stage. If it doesn't happen, you may well have disproved your hypothesis, or there may be a fault with the experiment. But you're constantly trying to disprove your hypotheses in science. But this is the only area you can really trust if it's done rigorously. Any claims made by humans must be taken with a grain of salt. And this again is why climate science is so problematic, because it's full of human level claims. It's full of human biases, and it's taken on a political dimension. So yeah, just know that no sources except well done, proper, hard science, and that's a big if there, because a lot of science can't be trusted. Is flawed. When the science isn't flawed, that's all you can trust. But unflawed, proper science, double-blind clinical trials, these things are extremely powerful. This is how we get to the truth, and they're also quite rare. And you certainly don't find them in most areas of knowledge that you tap. It's mostly just people giving you their thoughts, which of course is exactly what I'm doing here. And you should take me with a pinch of salt. We should take everyone with a pinch of salt. But something to be especially wary of is people that claim they have fixed science. They claim they have double-blind proven science, or they claim that a hypothesis has become a theory by successfully going through scientific testing. People that claim this, for example, climate scientists, and people in soft sciences, social sciences, a lot of far leftists are using science in the way the Nazis used this. Eugenics is one branch of science. The far left are using other soft, made-up bullshit science with circular reasoning to prove their ludicrous far leftist pseudoscience, such as gender being a construct. Gender is based on physical attributes, on hormones, on clearly men and women have different anatomy. You can't deny that. But when you come up with the pseudoscience, and then you cite this bullshit pseudoscience, and people hear the word science, many people would excusably say, "Oh, that's science. It must be true." Well, what kind of science is it? Is it a bullshit science? Is it grievance studies bullshit science? Is it science that was invented in order to push an extreme agenda, whatever that agenda is? Nazis with eugenics, far leftists today with their fuck whites, fuck men agenda. Gender's a social construct, all this bullshit. Is it really science? Is it a little bit science, like climate science? Is it completely science, like, say, physics? Or is it completely bullshit science? And as you can see from the grievance studies, fake papers that were accepted by journals in the field of gender studies and other bullshit far leftist topics recently by Peter Boghossian and his other collaborators. That's not real science. That's just bullshit. And they cite each other. So you've just got a circle jerk of people just spouting bullshit that has nothing to do with science. So don't fall for the it's science, I'll turn my brain off and believe it. Question whether it's physics, climate science, or gender studies. Which quote-unquote science is this? Is it really science at all? Maybe not. So you can't really trust any source apart from real science. Real, rigorous science that has been done properly. Hard science, that can be trusted. Anything else must be taken with a varying degree of salt.